Well, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining. We have maybe a few more people that'll be coming in or maybe calling in as we do this. For those of you who haven't met, I'm John Dickerson, and I'll let the rest of the team introduce as they come through here. It's our 10 minutes of good news, and today we want to share a little bit focusing on the languages of appreciation, because everybody takes appreciation and the meaning of it a little bit differently. And in their book about the languages of appreciation in the workplace, people talk about the 5 different languages that people respond to. And we want to share some examples of how that works today, because not everybody responds to the same good news story the same way. And so we're going to talk a little bit about, everybody knows why it's important, especially when we're so separated from one another. And welcome Kim and welcome Jeff. Thanks for being in on this with folks from around the country. But we share it here in the chat, the 5 languages of appreciation. That we'll start with Scott here. And again, our format is 10 minutes. We're going to record this. You can come back. Some people can't make it. But just to share just some good news of what people are doing and some unique ways of sharing appreciation and communication during this time. So I'm going to turn it over to Scott, and he's going to talk a little bit about quality time.
Thanks, John. For those that haven't met, I'm Scott DeFacel from Blitz. So one of the great ways of spending some quality time with staff right now, and that's obviously challenging, is what we call, virtual coffee. Just getting together on Zoom or FaceTime, regardless of the technology tool, just meeting one-on-one or with a small group of people to just have an informal conversation. It's something that staff often really respond well to. Obviously, timing can be a challenge, but you can work that out easily by text message. And just getting together to push beyond the simple question of, hey, how are you doing? Because oftentimes that produces very automatic responses. If I go around and ask everyone here, like, hey, how are you doing? I'm probably going to get a lot of very polite. It's like, oh, okay, not too bad, pretty good, fine. When underneath there might be something like that's radically different from just fine going on. So how can we ask better questions? What's good with you? What are you struggling with? What's your greatest challenge right now? How can I help you? How are we doing for you? I know is a question that John loves to ask. So just reframing that question to get a different conversation going with people, put them at ease, and just help them out. And the good news is time and distance, for those of you that have group homes spread out across different locations, doesn't have to be a barrier, because now you really are forced into a situation where you can't just go out and meet with them in person. So take advantage of technology right now. Use FaceTime, use Zoom or some other tool to just connect with them, see their face, and have a good conversation.
Great. Well, and welcome Tony from California. Glad you could join us. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. Good to see you.
So quality time is one of the key ones, and it's harder to do that without using virtual tools. But a number of folks have shared with us that it really impacts people when they can talk to them and hear them. One of the second languages is tangible rewards, of something that is tangible that they can feel. I see my dear friend Kim here. She was always good about bringing something into the office to share, and people would gravitate to the lunchroom to have a donut. We obviously can't do that now, but how can we share some appreciation with that? Folks have used various different kinds of gift cards, various things that respond to people that they can do. Some agencies, direct service agencies, are giving bonuses to people, very tangible rewards for people that are showing up and going the extra distance. We saw the result of some of that with a story just very recently of folks that by not only gave a gift card to people that showed up for shifts, but also sent a gift card to those that didn't, because they wanted to make sure they understood what was going on with them. And some of the people that didn't show up needed a little boost as much as anybody else that did show up. And it was a chance to say, how are you doing and what's going on in your family with that? One of the things is also looking at, folks ask their managers to say, some people like a coffee, some people like going to McDonald's. Find out what's different about folks that would be meaningful them in something that is a little bit tangible. And a $5 coffee card or a $5 McDonald's card may make a real difference. And people have found something tangible going out to people and leaving it for them at the house or the home or in the office where you used to work is a great way of being tangible around that. So we're going to now switch it over to Sue on the key one of words of affirmation.
Yes, this is a very key one because I don't know about you, but I think a lot of people do like to hear this. So if you recognize that this is their language, then make sure you're making it happening for them. You know, really, when people listen to this one, they really care about the intent and the emotion behind it. So remember that's important, and just be genuine. So you can do the simple things like just one-on-one, say, you know, hey, you're doing a great job on, and be specific about the project or the thing that they're doing. I think that's what's really important, because that's the way they know that you're recognizing the job that they're doing. But also be creative. Maybe you send a quick video to them. Try Loom or use Quillo if you're a subscriber, and send a video out to someone. I will tell you, you'll get a different reaction if you're talking to them on video and using words of affirmation. Another way that you can do it is just use a whiteboard and write thank you on it. You're on a video call with somebody, hold the whiteboard up saying thank you for doing this. So be creative with how you're using your words, whether it's written or spoken. People do love to hear them. So let me throw it over to Craig.
For those of you who haven't met me, I'm Craig DeVissel, also Blitz, Scott's dad. One of the complaints that we often hear when we interview DSPs is, I wish leadership would just show up to see what we do. So this is a great opportunity. Obviously, everybody's stuck in the residences. All day activities and outings have been canceled. One of the executive directors we know, the county board is providing weekly meals, but they have no one to deliver them. So the executive director is delivering them to the residences. I know one of his staff told me yesterday that she had to film one day and they were disappointed that it wasn't the executive director delivering it. So this is having a real impact. We've also heard of executive directors helping cover for shifts when somebody couldn't be there, or washing a car during a shift with permission, of course. I also know of an executive director who on the third shift changed a tire for one of the DSPs, went out and changed the tire himself. These are all excellent examples. It's an opportunity for you now to get out, to show your staff you truly appreciate them and that you're supporting them in what they do. It can be very powerful to do that kind of act of service in person rather than just rely on remote. So, Sue?
Yeah, so let me just share the last one, which is probably the most sensitive form of appreciation, and that's touch. And especially during this time, we have to be, again, a little bit more creative about recognizing how are we showing that with individuals. So the social distancing and certainly not allowing us to be one-on-one, but you have to do it virtually. So maybe it's a virtual high five, you're on a call with somebody and you know that that's their language of appreciation. Give them a high five. You can use the reaction buttons on your screens. That's another way because it shows the hand. So use the reaction buttons. Again, a fist pump. Say woo, and maybe go like this. So again, just ways of showing them that, you know, again, you're thinking about the touch element. Another thing that we've been reading a lot about is that, you know, if folks are craving those hugs, although you might not be able to give them differently, people are out there hugging trees nowadays. So 20 minutes of a tree hug, again, might be the touch somebody needs to feel the bark differently, to smell the bark. Again, it's that one-on-one presence of being a touch. So those really are the 5 languages of appreciation. Again, if you haven't had the opportunity to read the book, it is out there. There's also a free survey that someone can do if you want to leverage that as part of a team building activity for your staff. So with that, we thank everybody for being on the call today. We know that you're out there doing a great job of appreciating the folks that are working for you. And if you've got some ideas or ways that you're showing appreciation, why don't you drop us an email and let us know what you're doing. We'd love to highlight some of the key things that folks are doing. So with that, we hope to see you next week on May 20th. Same time, same place. Take a little time for you. Enjoy the day. We're glad you're with us. Take care. We'll see everybody. Bye now.
Thanks, everybody.